Most people hustle their entire lives and still end up broke, while a quiet few seem to build wealth almost effortlessly. And the difference isn't intelligence, luck, or even money. It's something happening inside the brain long before any bank account changes. And the wildest part? You might already be doing some of it without realizing. If you've ever felt like you operate differently from the people around you, like your relationship with money, time, and effort just doesn't match the crowd, this is going to feel like someone finally put words to something you've sensed for years. You're not reckless, you're not lazy, you're not missing a gene that other people have. You just haven't been shown the actual mechanics of what separates the people who build real wealth from the people who just talk about it. That changes right now, because what you're about to hear isn't hustle culture motivation, it's the psychology underneath the money, and understanding it will change how you see yourself. Here's where the science gets interesting. In a landmark study from 2018, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania tracked over 1,500 adults across a decade and found that the single strongest predictor of financial success wasn't income or education. It was something called delayed gratification capacity, which is just a fancy way of saying your brain's ability to resist a small reward now in exchange for a bigger one later. Think of your brain like a tug of war between two systems, the limbic system, which is emotional, impulsive, and screaming want it now, and the prefrontal cortex, which is rational, patient, and playing the long game. Most people spend their entire financial lives letting the impulsive system win. The habits we're talking about today are essentially exercises that slowly, permanently shift that tug of war in your favor. There's also a concept called neuroplasticity, the brain's proven ability to physically rewire itself through repeated behavior. Every time you practice one of these habits, you are literally reshaping the neural architecture of how your brain processes wealth. The first habit is one nobody talks about because it sounds almost too simple. Millionaires think in outcomes, not activities. Regular people ask, "What should I do today?" Wealth builders ask, "What result am I moving toward?" It sounds like semantics. It isn't. Outcome thinking activates the prefrontal cortex by default, keeping you in long-range planning mode even when your emotions are pulling you toward distraction. You've probably felt this before, that quiet voice that asks, "But does this actually matter?" That's not overthinking. That's your brain trying to protect your future. The second habit is ruthless financial awareness without shame. Most people avoid looking at their bank account when things are tight. The anxiety of not knowing feels safer than the anxiety of knowing. But here's what research on financial psychology consistently shows. Avoidance of financial information is one of the strongest behavioral predictors of long-term poverty. Wealthy people look at their numbers constantly, not obsessively, but consistently. There's a psychological term for this, metacognitive monitoring, which simply means watching yourself think and act in real time. You can't correct a pattern you refuse to observe. The habit isn't budgeting, it's just looking, clearly, regularly, without flinching. The third habit is one nobody talks about because it sounds almost too simple. Millionaires not spending money to look rich. The data on this is staggering. Studies of first-generation millionaires consistently show they drive average cars, wear unremarkable clothes, and live in neighborhoods below what their income could afford. Why? Because they've broken free from what psychologists call social comparison theory, the deeply wired human instinct to measure our value by how we appear to others. Every purchase made to impress someone else is a vote against your own future. Every purchase made from genuine value is a vote for it. Millionaires aren't cheap, they're just immune to performance. Hit subscribe if you recognize yourself in any of this, because the next 3 habits go even deeper. The fourth habit is what separates the permanently wealthy from the temporarily successful. They build systems, not streaks. Motivation is a feeling, systems are architecture. When you rely on motivation, you're essentially betting your financial future on your emotional state on any given Tuesday morning. Systems remove the decision entirely. Automatic investments, scheduled financial reviews, pre-decided spending rules. The brain finds this deeply comfortable because of a concept called cognitive load reduction. The less mental energy you spend on recurring decisions, the more capacity you have for high-value thinking. You've probably noticed you make worse financial decisions when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. That's not weakness, that's biology. The system catches you when your mood can't. The fifth habit is one most people mistake for passivity. Millionaires are extraordinarily selective about who they spend time with, not because they're elitist, because they understand social contagion. There's a well-documented psychological phenomenon called behavioral mirroring, where humans unconsciously adopt the habits, language, and financial norms of the people around them. If everyone in your circle treats debt as normal, treats saving as depravation, and treats wealth as something that happens to other people, you will drift toward those beliefs without ever choosing them. The fifth habit is simply refusing to let your environment choose your ceiling for you. The sixth habit is the one that looks nothing from the outside. It's the habit of sitting with discomfort without reacting. Financial markets crash, business plans fail, opportunities disappear. The people who build lasting wealth aren't the ones who make perfect decisions. They're the ones who don't make catastrophic decisions under pressure. Psychologists call this distress tolerance, which is the trained capacity to feel fear, uncertainty, or pain without immediately acting to make it stop. Most people panic sell, impulse spend, or abandon strategies the moment they feel anxious. Millionaires feel the same fear, they just don't let it drive. Now, here's where honesty matters. These habits can have a shadow side. Delayed gratification taken too far becomes chronic deprivation. Financial awareness without self-compassion becomes obsession. Selectivity about relationships can drift into isolation. The line between discipline and punishment is important. Are you building something, or are you punishing yourself into wealth? Because one produces a life you want to live inside of, the other just produces numbers. You didn't stumble onto this video by accident. Some part of you already knows the way you think about money, effort, and patience isn't quite like everyone around you. You've probably been told you're too intense, too calculated, too focused on the future. But that's not a flaw in your wiring. That's your architecture working exactly the way it was built to. The habits above aren't foreign to you. Some of them are already running quietly in the background, waiting for you to name them and claim them. Wealth isn't a destination you're trying to reach. It's a way of thinking you're already practicing. You're not behind, you're just getting clear. Tell me in the comments, do you think millionaire habits are something you're born with or something anyone can train into themselves? I want to see where you stand. And if you want to understand the psychology behind why most people self-sabotage at the exact moment success gets close, the next video on psychologic is going to shake something loose in you that's been stuck for a long time. Click it. You're ready for it.